Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an FV215b 183, the Death Star. Yes, it's the tier 10 British premium tank destroyer. It's located on the north spawn of Pilsen, and it's under the command of my Sakurajima. I hope I've got that correct. Anyway, Mai sent me some more replays, so we've got a couple of replays in the Death Star to start off with. Now, this is the biggest gun that's not in an SPG in the game. Well, technically this is an SPG, a self-propelled gun, but it's not an Arty tank destroyer. And it's a 183mm gun, which is based on a 7.2-inch howitzer. You can see it's got a fume extractor halfway along the barrel. They actually extended an artillery barrel and turned it into a tank destroyer. It was designed specifically to destroy enemy Soviet heavy tanks such as the IS-3 from long range away. And it was built after they saw the parade, the victory parade in Berlin, where the Soviets showed their IS-3s, and of course everybody was rather shocked that the Soviets had come up with a very, very meaty heavy tank that most people just wouldn't be able to defeat. Now, this thing's got very heavy armour at the front of the vehicle, 254mm on the turret, 177.8 at the sides, but the bottom of the vehicle is basically a Conqueror tank, so it's 152mm on the front, 50 on the sides, very weak, and 76 at the rear. There you go, he's locked on and taken out a T100 with just one shot. Now, what's special about this vehicle is the gun was designed to fire HESH, high explosive squash head, right from the start. That was going to be the only ammunition this vehicle carried. In fact, actually, in the game, they've actually given it the armour piercing as well as standard HE. You can see that the HESH works so much better because the HESH rounds will do 1,750 if they can penetrate through 230mm of armour. So massive penetration, massive damage to the target if they do. Looking for that Leopard. He's obviously being highlighted by the EBR. Now, he's suddenly seen a Kunstpanzer down there. Missed the chance to get it because he was distracted. He was trying to move into a better position to get the Leopard, but instead now he's got two tanks on the railway line, a Noobs, and he's kind of out in the open here. Oh, misses the shot on the enemy EBR, and he takes a round from the enemy Arty because he was sitting there too long in the open. Made him just an open target for everyone. And the annoying thing is now that the enemy Arty knows where he is, and he's probably going to be following him. There's only one enemy tank on the railway line now. I think the EBR has been killed. Yes, he has gone. So there's one enemy tank is blocking the movement of quite a few of our teammates, and oh, we just drove straight in front of our EPR 105. Now, Wargaming took the Death Star out of the game in, well, I think it was over a year ago now, and they replaced it with a Badger. It's now a premium vehicle, and you can only get it if you take part in an auction on the black market, or you happen to be gifted one by Wargaming directly. Oh, now juicy target, saw the M103, too late to back up and try and shoot him, so he's going to go directly through the doors and see if he can get behind this guy. He's got a nasty shot coming. Here we go. Let me have your rear. Well, that was 1,784 hit points of damage, and the M103 is no more, and he got a thank you there. I think the 430U was quite pleased by that. Who's next? Well, we've got the front end of an E3. Unfortunately, we lost quite a lot of hit points and suffered some damage, but I think the E3 is going to suffer even more now. Yeah, 1,979. He's killed with the very next shot from a FV215b. One of the bad things about this tank is the reload. It's normally 28.76 seconds, but he's got it down to 23.64. And well, he's just going to bully this guy because after all, he's got the muscle. And there you go. Squashes him against the wall. 673 hit points, but he did track himself in the process. And now he's got to recover his track. There's only one enemy left. He's just around the corner, but I don't think he'll be there for much longer because he's being victimized by a group of our teammates. All going to be over momentarily. In fact, he's been asked to platoon with the Object 263, and the last enemy is dead, so it's all over. Let's have a look at the second replay. And in this replay, we're on the south spawn of Lakeville. Let's see how my Sakurajima gets on. Game started. Well, looks like he's going to go to town, which is the best place for a tank destroyer like this. Really, the Death Star wasn't too difficult to play. I mean, it's mainly about protecting your sides, because the sides were very thin armour. But the front was really, really strong and solid. So long as you angled well, you didn't expose your weak spots, you could actually do a lot of damage to the enemy. And that frontal armour of 152mm of armour, you're not really easily going to get through that. The only problem really with this tank destroyer is the fact that if somebody can get behind it, they can do hit and runs, and there's not a lot that the Death Star can do to respond. Well, he's decided to go up on that hill, but the enemy that was seen over there, which actually was an STB-1, has now gone. Oh, that was a very expensive shell to fire. Yeah, these HESH rounds, they're not cheap. So firing blind on a target, yeah, that's kind of a waste. Well, he's actually decided now he's going to go back, and I think what persuaded him to do that is the possibility or potential he could go up the valley. Now, this was the project to build the Death Star was actually cancelled in the 1950s. Really, I suppose in the end, despite the fact that they did actually have good HESH rounds which could take on the IS-3s, really they had better guns to actually use against the enemy, such as the 120mm guns, the L7A1, and in the end, really this wasn't a necessary tank destroyer after all. It's also taken into consideration the fact that this thing weighs 64 tons. That's pretty heavy. And of course, at the time, you needed to be able to go across bridges, and if you couldn't go across bridges because you were too heavy, that could be a major problem. Now, the only really bad thing, apart from the side armour, is also the poor gun handling. It does take forever to dial in on target, and yeah, that can be a real problem. If you've got a target there and you'd like to shoot at them, but you just can't dial in because the thing just takes ages to do so. Okay, well, there's potential he might get something over there. Oh! He had the perfect opportunity there to take out an EBR-105. The guy slowed down at the gap. But I think that ST2 is about to go through that gap, and if he does... Oh, is the EBR coming back? I've never seen a better target on an EBR there. The guy stops in plain sight of loads of tank destroyers, and they're all a bit late to react. I'm not surprised that Mide hesitated, because a lot of the others did as well. Besides, of course, he probably thought the EBR was going to move away the moment that he realised he'd been seen. In fact, I think he'd already had been seen. Some of these guys are now trying to move back, because they realise that all our forces in the town have now been defeated. Oh, good shot! Low roll on the Wizzy. Yeah, he's decided to pull back, just checking behind him. See exactly where he's going. I think he's going to take up a decent position here, and of course he's got the T110E3 as well to work with. There's the DR105. That's the sort of problem tank, because that is the sort of hit and run tank that the Death Star is kind of susceptible to. He's pulling back a long way, he's letting the T110E3 have plenty of room. I think he might pull up, get shots on these enemies, and yep, do that. Kill shot.
Fall back from there.
It's just letting the E3 know that he needs to pull back, let the others move into the positions so they can actually get the shots on the killing ground, the open space in front of them. The enemy has to move through that open space. They have to come out of that little dip. And when they're that close, it makes it much easier to get a shot. Here comes the Cranbon. Yeah, he's gone. We did take a round from the Leopard. Not sure where that shell went.
Start withdrawal.
I'm trying to friendly advise the E3 to push back. The Type 5 at the moment is exchanging fire with our Leopard 1 and our STB 1. We'll let them have their goes, and then we'll... what we got over here? Oh, 82. Well, that's 616 hit points that he's going to miss. He keeps trying to tell the E3 to pull back. I think it may be that he actually wants that position for himself. Here's the EBR. He's there. Nope, he's not there anymore. And the EBR did slam around into him. Unfortunately, it was a heat round, so it did pen. Our guys are holding the other side of the valley, so that's okay. In fact, they're doing rather well. A Type 5's just killed their Death Star, which means that they might be moving towards the enemy cap soon. So all these guys need to do is just hold this cap, stop the enemy from advancing, and unfortunately we just lost the Leopard 1. And they've lost their Type 5. Oh, we lost the STB now, that's bad news. But their E3 takes a massive hit and the EBR fails to penetrate this time. Yeah, that armour at the front there is kind of strong. It's the roof armour of this tank destroyer that you've got to watch out for. And there goes the STB-1. E3 got another kill. So far he's only got one kill. But the Type 5 is now moving back. He's coming back down the valley. That E3 took another hit. Our Object 430U, instead of capping, is actually going in the opposite direction. He's trying to come around behind the enemy. Mai is using this E3 as mobile armour. Just wait for that final reload. It takes so long. Nice hit, but he's lost. He didn't get the high roll, and yeah, the Leopard tracked him. But the E3's killed him, so that's him out of the game. So the E3's now got 2 kills. Now, can he do this ST2? He's going to take these 2 shots. But he's got a nice little weak spot on top of that turret. And we didn't need it, actually. He went straight through. But unfortunately, we did take a round from the E3. Yeah, you can see some of these shots are actually hitting the lower planes and penetrating. Okay, so the E3 is 3 versus 4 now. Hello, Mr. E3, and he goes. He was looking at us, but it was actually our E3 that got the kill. Oh, Arty must be over this side. If he should get stuns like that, he must be over this side of the map. We lost the 430U. Their Type 5 Heavy went up the other end, and our Type 5 has come back. Now will be a good time for for one of them, and I would have thought the Type 5 could have actually stayed up the other end and capped out, and that's what probably forced the enemy Type 5 to go up that end, because they thought, oh, they were about to be overrun. Well, he's expecting the enemy Type 5 to be coming down the valley. Our Type 5 is now going back up the valley, which he fought to the other side and right to the other end, and now he's going back there again. So we've entered a quiet phase in the battle. Let's have a look at the enemy. They've got a GWE100, who we think is up this end but can't see where we are. The EBR105, who's out there somewhere and supposed to be spotting us but is not spotting us at the moment. And the Type 5 Heavy, we don't know where he is. Could be up the other end of the valley, or he could be behind us on the lake road coming back. Still plenty of time though, 5 minutes to go. If 6 cents goes off, I reckon it'll be the EBR105. And then we'll expect archery rounds. There's the Type 5, he's up the other end of the valley. And he's now exchanging with our Type 5, but obviously our one's got more hit points. Now, will he survive? Because he could be wiped out with one shot in the right place by that Type 5. They could kind of gang up on him. They both went up there. Their Type 5 is just kind of blocking our guy from moving up. And Mice decided to poke the bear with a sharp stick. If he goes out too far and gets hit by a 105mm round, we'll know the EBR's around. It'll be quickly followed by an Arty round as well. E3's making his presence now. Oh, he's killed the Type 5 at the other end. So now our Type 5 can go up there, and firing that shot, the E3 actually woke up the GWE100, who managed to launch a round in which stunned both tanks. So he's guessing where they are, that GWE100. The question is, where is the EBR105? And I have to kind of get the feeling the EBR105 might be out of commission, or he's not taking part anymore. Either he's out of shells, or he doesn't want to mix it with the big guns. This is very, very strange. Well, I certainly think the GWE100 is in this direction. So both these guys are going off to try and find him. And he's not a very fast Arty, so he's about to get hit by two very high caliber guns. The 155mm on the E3 or the 183mm on the Death Star. Kind of battered. Some nasty holes there. There's one of those is a heat round. The other one that looks like a standard ordinary round. AP round. Or APCR. And he's found him! Well, that means there's only one enemy remaining. The EBR. Trouble is though, they get too far away from the cap area, it could be kind of awkward when they have to try and get back and get a reset. We are capping at the other end now, and it's less than oh, the EBR's been found, and he's trying to reset the Type 5. Can he get the kill? It'd be a long range shot if Mai was to try it. Be nice though. They're both rushing. Oh, they've killed the EBR. The Type 5 gets the glory at that moment. And so it is a victory for Mai in his Death Star. And here's the end of battle results in the first game, the one on Pilsen. Mai Sakurajima, sorry if I keep pronouncing your name wrong, I think it's my tongue that's letting me down. Got a first class tanker, a fire for effect and a bruiser medal out of that game. He got 7 critical hits. He also platooned with somebody who had at least 3 kills. He got 3 kills and so he ended up with the Brothers in Arms. And on top of all that, he got a high caliber as well for dealing the most damage in the game. 7,851, Super Unicum Standard and a bit more. Let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, there you go. Top of the table, 7,608 hit points of damage. The next highest scorer had less than half of that, and that was the CS63 on the enemy team with 3,129 hit points. Just goes to show that really big gun can be totally devastating to the enemy, especially sort of like roll towards them and blast them at point blank range. When it comes to kills, he actually shared the top spot with the Char Future for the Object 263, who he also platooned with, and yep, himself, the Char Future and the Object 263. And the second place was the EBR90. He managed to get 2 kills. And when it came to base XP, it was the EBR90 who did the best with 1,186, and that's mostly because he was doing spotting. 988 went to Mai Sakurajima, and 860 went to the Object 263. He fired 6 shots in that game, 5 direct hits, 4 penetration, 2 splash. 7,608 hit points, of which 1,841 were at more than 300 meters. So most of his damage was done at close range. He received 2 hits, both penetrated, and 2 hits by way of splash damage as well. 5 enemy vehicles were damaged, 3 were killed, and 384 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 68,495 credits on a premium count, got 34,247 from personal reserves, total of 102,742 credits altogether. But he did fire premium ammo, and of course he was using premium consumables as well, and it's actually the combination of those two which actually ended up with a loss of only 125 credits. So I don't think you'll worry about that in the slightest. He got 7 bonds for taking part in the tier 10 game, 1,482 XP, 74 for this being a premium vehicle, and 1,482 from personal reserves, took away 3,038 experience points altogether. So a reasonably good game, a high caliber and a Brothers in Arms from Pilsen. Let's have a look at the one on Lakeville. Well, that was much better. He did a fantastic job sharing and saving the cap with the E3, and he got an ace tanker in that game for his performance. He also managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a spotter for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a hand of God for receiving damage from 4 different enemy tanks and surviving, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, and he got 13 in that game. And he also received a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a defender in this one as well for resetting the game enough times to get at least 70 defense points in total. His win rate was slightly higher in this one, 8,540, which is, well, I suppose you could say it's also down to the damage and the fact that this is an ace tanker game. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, there you go, right at the top of the table again with 6,199 hit points this time. And it is still double the next highest, or is it double? No, it's not. It's double the next highest scorer on the enemy team. There was somebody on his own team who actually scored almost as much. The Object 430U, the guy who actually left the cap area and just went around the outside of the map to try and find the enemy. And unfortunately, he got taken out. In fact, I think he was taken out by War Tom Sky, which is their Type 5. So, yes, he met the Type 5 on the enemy team, and that's what killed him. So, he got 4,121, and the T110E3 that was alongside Mai for most of the game, he got 3,952. Best the enemy could get was their Type 5, who actually managed to get 3,020 and 2 kills. When it came to kills, it was the E3 and the Type 5 both got 4 kills. Mai only got 3 out of that game. But he did get more in the way of XP because he was top of the table with 1,281, 1,148 went to the Type 5, and 1,017 went to the E3. The Type 5 picking up a steel wall in that game. He fired 11 shots in this game, much more 10 direct hits, 1 penetration, 10 splash, damage of 6,199 hit points, of which 2,845 were at more than 300 meters. He received 6 hits from the enemy, 3 of those penetrated, 3 non-penetrations and 2 hits by way of splash damage, and he blocked damage of 1,200 hit points in total. He spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 3, did 2,161 hit points of spotting assist, I think, in that one, which is why he managed to get the extra XP in this one. He earned 72,839 credits, but he didn't have any personal reserves running at that point. And after the ammunition costs and the consumables, and yes, the ammunition costs were considerable in this one, he actually ended up with a loss of 72,350 credits for the game. So it's quite a big loss. 25 bonds for the achievement, 7 for the battle, 32 in total. And he got 1,921 XP. Times 2 for the first victory of the day, 3,844 for completing mission events, 96 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 7,783 experience points altogether. He calls it Death Star fun. Well, it was actually. Just goes to show how powerful this thing is in the right hands. And because it's firing HESH rounds, and well, HESH ammunition is designed so it forms a kind of cowpat on the outside of an enemy tank. It really doesn't need to penetrate the tank. All it needs to do is detonate on the outside and cause scabs of metal to go flying around the inside as they break away under the shockwaves. So it's a very effective round, and so even if you don't penetrate the enemy, you still cause their crew to have a very bad day. So I hope you enjoyed both of those replays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.